Greetings, my fellow Africans and the entire world. I come to you with a message of empowerment and enlightenment, all the way from the African Mental Emancipation Movement. The African Mental Emancipation Movement, as the name suggests, is a movement that is set up for the complete and total emancipation of the African minds from mental slavery, as observed by Marcus Garvey and sung by Bob Marley. The African has lived in a perpetual mental slavery, not by or as a result of the work of other people, but as a result of our own way of life, the way we conducted our life, the African personality, what we are, what our forefathers have sown into us, and what we are also sowing into our children. That is what has our personality has been developed developed upon. And so it is just a simple question that all of us, we have to ask ourselves. And it has to be a burning desire for all of us because we want a good life. And the question is, why is it that all other people are making progress, developing their lives, having solutions to their own life challenges? Africans, we are unable to do the same. Well, majority of us will say that it is as a result of our lack of formal education, and that is where the bone of contention is. Yes, it's true. Formal education is true. But even the question has to come out, we have to go back to the question that how come that our forefathers were not able to develop their own system of formal education? Well, that is something that we don't want to go into. But we just want to move forward, looking at our lives where we are now. Why is it that the African is paralyzed when it comes to improving upon our lives? If you look around you, wherever you are, particularly those of you on the African continent, everything that you consider as your valuable was made outside Africa. Everything. Why? But at the same time, if you look at the things that you call your valuables, majority of them were actually made out of the raw materials that were taken from Africa to other lands to create those things and brought these things back to us to sell them to us at high prices. Well, most of us will say it is exploitation and it is other people who are preventing us from becoming developed, being what we want to be. But that is not the truth. The fact is, God has created us equal and He has given us a mind. And the mind is the liberator of every human being from any circumstances. At the same time, the mind is the creator of all the circumstances. And it all has to do with our understanding and our ability to use our minds in the right way that is supposed to be. Well, Africans, based on how our forefathers organized their lives, we never studied anything apart from just living and doing what they were doing. Peasant farmers, some of them were nomads in the beginning, just going about, and then the Europeans came and superimposed what we call the formal education on us. And so Africans, we accepted the formal education as a way of self-improvement. And so you will see that wherever you go, anywhere in Africa, the song, the catchphrase is, we need proper education. Education is the key. And so we are doing all these things. So now we have actually gone through the school systems that we have now a bank of well qualified Africans. Now we have the education. We have more than even educated people. Now we have what we call unemployment, graduate unemployment. That means we have produced more educated people that they can't even get a job to do. So why is all these things happening? That upon all these qualifications, we are unable to create and develop ourselves. We are now independent people. And why will other people, we actually have even the power to prevent us from developing ourselves? And that is where we have to, these are the questions that we have to begin to ask. There are a lot of beliefs that we put on ourselves, and these beliefs keeps on creating the reality. The very fact is that the human being's mind is a creative medium. And therefore, whatever thought that you will establish as your dominant thought, it becomes your belief. And that is what your mind is going to create for you. Your subconscious mind receives your thoughts, your beliefs, and takes it and creates your realities for you. Whether you know this or you don't know it, that is the truth. And as I'm speaking to you, you don't have to understand how gravity works for gravity to work on you. And so that is where we are. And so Africans, you see that based on how our forefathers conducted their life, and the trunk of the tree upon which all of us came out was based on a mental attitude that does not calls for the human being, Africans, to look within themselves for solutions to their problems, to see him or herself that he has powers. It is his or her divine right to make a change or to cause things to happen in his life or her life. And so in the olden days, our forefathers, whatever they want, they go to the fetish priest, they go to the the shrines, they pray, they do their incantations, the rituals, and expecting miracles. And that is what we have carried into our various religions now, particularly the Christian religion. And so you will see that we have formed a certain mental attitude, and we have created our own beliefs. And therefore, always our minds, we are recreating all this life in our existence. But the fact is, the human being is a free being with powers given to us by God. No one is shortchanged. The powers that the Europeans have, that they've done everything that they've done, we possess the same powers. But the only difference is our lack of understanding and our ability to use these powers, to call upon these powers and use them in our lives. And as a matter of fact, we are already using them, but in a negative way. The African witch and all this juju that we are talking of, there is nothing that like juju or whatever, it forces anyway. They are the abuse of the mental forces, the mental powers that God has given to us. Your thoughts are creative. Your thoughts create realities. And therefore, we only have to understand how we operate. And as soon as we begin to use our minds and giving our minds the right thoughts, the right beliefs, everything will change. And so, we followed formal education, and now we have a lot of qualified Africans. But none of these qualified Africans are able to do any meaningful things to improve our lives. We have a lot of Africans where our populations are growing. No one is able to get up and look at the situation and say, hey, I am a full human being, and it is my divine right to think of a solution and follow this direction and go on to create this solution and bring it to work out this problem. And it all comes down to what I have just stated. The center of power, where we look for power, is outside us. And therefore, we don't believe in ourselves. So for you to get anything good from your mind, then you need to have the belief in yourself. Believe that you have the ability and the power to do whatever you want to do. And it is this belief that moves you for you to take the right step. If you don't have this belief, then you only think that a miracle, something miraculous by the gods of God Almighty has to happen in your life. And in that case, you are waiting to see a white man from somewhere to come and work out the solution to your problems. You are waiting to see someone from somewhere to come and work out a solution to our problems. And that is what we've been doing, right from our forefathers. They never try to solve the problem themselves, but they go to the fetish priest, they go to the gods, and then pray that someone, a white people or whatever, will come and solve the problems. And that is what we've been doing all this while till today. And it all comes to the point that the African hasn't been able to liberate himself from all the superstitions, all the things that we have been sewn into our DNA, into our subconscious mind, both the racial level and individual level. And that is why the emancipation of the African mind actually comes in here. You are made and created in the image and the likeness of God. You are born with powers. Your subconscious mind is a creative medium. And therefore, once you become conscious of this fact, and you know that you have this power, you will get up and use it. As a matter of fact, you know that you have a car and you want to travel. You don't have to sit down to speculate. It is a fact you have a car. So you get up, take the keys, you sit in your car, and you begin moving. In the same way, if we come to the conscious realization and understanding that God has endowed us with all these powers, we will no longer sit down and pray to God and expect God to bring people to come and solve our problems. But we will get up volitionally and begin to work out solutions to our problems. And it all has to come with the beliefs that we establish, the mindset that we're going to establish. And so the Bible says that when a person comes into Christ, the old things has gone and the new things comes in. In the same way, this is a new era. This is a new generation. We have now discovered the truth, and that is the power of the human mind. And so we are emancipating ourselves from the old beliefs that has paralyzed us, that has made us timid in our minds, that we are unable to think to get solutions to our problems. And now it is a new creature. An African is becoming a new creature, and that is we're developing the mindsets. We're developing the belief, a mindset that is around the central belief that we are gods on earth here. We have powers to change and to change and change, create and recreate our life, whatever way we want it. And as soon as we establish this, we begin to look into ourselves. We begin to look to ourselves as the creators, and therefore we go on to create the solutions that we are looking for. God is ever ready to push all these things through us. And so the African educated man or woman now becomes conscious of the fact that education is just a training. You can actually train your dog. You can train your cat to do some amazing things. That is education. It's equivalent to the education that we have. But that doesn't change the nature of the cat or dog. In the same way, our education doesn't change our nature. But it is only when we change our nature, and then the education will become worthwhile, such that we can look at what we have learned from formal education, apply our beliefs, and then go on to create things to solve our problems or in response to our challenges. And so this mental emancipation that Marcus Garvey and Bob Marley actually spoke about, it is about you and I, all of us, now developing a new mental attitude. Now begin to look at things from a different perspective. The old perspective that you are a victim of circumstances, you are a victim of the work of God's evil forces and whatever, must go. The new perspective, the new mental attitude, the new belief is that your mind is the creative medium, and therefore, whatever you suggest to your mind, the mind will create for you. And that is when it comes that mind is the master, mind rules the world. We will rise up to become world changers. We'll rise up to become world movers. As soon as we come to this point and then turn our perspective to the right perspective, whether you believe it or not. But this is something that Africans, we are ignorant about. Your life is your own creation. And it is based on your belief, your mindset. If you change your mind about anything, the thing will change. But so long as you are still holding those beliefs about that thing, the beliefs will be your reality. And therefore, this is the time, the call on you, my fellow African, my brother, my sister, is that you are a powerful human being. God has created you with all powers. And God is ready. The universe, the creative force, whatever name, infinite intelligence, whatever name you want to call this power that we are all made of, it doesn't matter. But that power is ever ready and is bringing new things, beautiful things into the world. And therefore, this is the dawn, this is the time of the African. And that we have come to the conscious realization and discovery of this. Let us rise up and begin to weed out all things that has been sown into us, individually and collectively, and recalibrate our subconscious minds, both at the individual and the collective level. And don't forget, Africa, the black race, is not made up of a tree or a plot of land. It is the collection of people. And therefore, for anything to change in our collective life, our collective perspective, we have to do it from individual level, then it grows up to become the collective level. And so, my fellow African, whoever you are, wherever you are you're listening to me from, the message to you is that you are powerful. You are born to be a creator. You are born to change the world. Therefore, rise up, stand up, and shake off all the things that are limiting you from using your mind in its right way. All the things that are creating fear in you in such a way that you see yourself as a victim, but not the center of your life. Shake them off and take only one central thought. Move with only one mindset. And the mindset is that you are a creator, you are a powerful human being, and nothing has power over you. And therefore, you have a role to play in the advancement of humanity, in the improvement of the life of humanity. And now let us begin to comb through our lives. As soon as we develop this mental attitude, an African would take a challenge upon himself or herself and then dwell upon this, emotionalize it, create the right pictures, and suggest these pictures to the subconscious mind. And eventually, these pictures becomes a reality. And that is by the use of imagination and visualization. And that is why one of the greatest scientists, Albert Einstein, actually put it this way, that education is not important. What is important is imagination. Education gives us only knowledge, but imagination gives us a broader perspective that it encircles the world. All things becomes responsive to you because you are speaking to the universe. You are speaking to your own powers. And therefore, let us rise up. For our education to be worthwhile, we have to develop a certain mental attitude. And that central mental attitude has to be based on the belief in yourself, self-belief. And then we go on to do whatever we want to do. We are free human beings. We are not under any attack. We are not being, there is nothing that is fighting against us. The human being on earth here is a free, powerful human being that is serving as an outlet, a channel through which God does his things. And so, the man that brought aeroplane, it is not his work. It is God who has worked through that person to give us the aeroplane. The one that brought cell phone, the iPhone, the Android, whichever one you are using, they did the work of God. And God worked through them to bring all these things. In the same way, my fellow African, there is something beautiful God is bringing into this world. All you have to do, all I have to do, you and all of us have to do, is to open our minds. That is by developing this dominant thought that it is your divine right to receive and to give to the world. And go on, the idea you will receive may be sometimes weird. The ideas you may receive may be something that no man or woman will agree with you, will understand you. And when you receive these ideas, don't go to the pastor. Don't go to anyone that you're going to seek spiritual advice. No. Believe in yourself. And one thing that you have to understand is that if what God is bringing to the world through you is already known to men and women, then there is nothing new that you are bringing into this world. And that is why your ideas, what you receive from your higher self, that the pastors and the prophets in Africa will say that it is something that is coming from the evil forces. No, that is coming from God. Because whatever God is going to bring to the world, no one has ever seen it. And therefore it has to be something strange to them. Those who got up and said and developed the desire that they wanted to create aeroplane, they were weird people in the eyes of their own people. Because what they were describing to make people fly in an object, it was impossible to men and women. But for them, they saw it because they knew what God was bringing to the world through them. And so it is the same thing. The solution to the African problem lies in you. But it will come to you as a strange, as something weird, something that doesn't match up with the ordinary way of living. Believe in yourself. Stand firm, develop faith in your divinity, and go on. And as you pursue this, you realize that the whole world will begin to dance. They'll come and dance to your creation because you have given them something new. And that is how God cooperates with us. Or that is how we cooperate with God. We co-create with God and bring things into the universe. And this is the mindset that Africans we have to take now. And let us ditch all this kind of fear and that kind of superstition, whatever. The most, what we call it, dream killers, ideas killers in the African context are the spiritual leaders, the pastors, the prophets. They link everything to evil forces. Even when God is bringing something beautiful in you, you receive it, then you go and tell these people, and then they tell you that in Ghana, in the Akan language, the master way they baby womb, that means there is something behind it. Then they discourage you, they prescribe some weird rituals for you. You do it and you teach this idea, and that is it. Now, you have killed an idea. You have killed something that God is passing through you to the world. And so this is the mental attitude that we have to take, and that is by pegging ourselves from all old beliefs, false beliefs, and now taking up the new mentality, the new mindset that we are here to be partakers with God in the ever-creation process. So, as an African, rise up. Be conscious of the fact that your mind is the master creator, and your mind rules the world. As soon as you begin to use your mind, you will rule the world. All of us begin to use our minds. We will rule the world and give the world things that no man, men and women haven't seen. Because there are difficulties, big problems, challenges on our continent. And as soon as we get solutions to these problems, the world will dance to it because what we are bringing out, they haven't seen it before. So let us emancipate ourselves. That is, let us begin to relieve and then set our minds free by developing the central mental attitude that a human being is here as a free, independent man or woman. We will only become slaves, or we will put ourselves in bondage only when we believe that there are some forces fighting against us. We become free men and women when we believe that we are the creators of our own realities, and therefore, even if it is bad, we have the right to change it. And that is when men and women, young and old, will begin to rise up and begin to work on our solutions. We begin to work on our problems, and we create better and wonderful solutions and give it to the world. So that is the new mental attitude, that is the new perspective, that is the new direction, my fellow Africans. Let us rise up and believe in ourselves. Education and all that we are doing are good, but they are secondary to attaining success. They will be meaningful and useful to us only when we develop, we consciously work on ourselves in the light of the truth, to develop the true mental attitude that is based on faith or belief in ourselves, that it is our divine right to improve upon our lives. It is our divine right to make a contribution to the development and the movement, the development and the evolution of humanity. And therefore, we are co-creators with God, and we are creating our realities, affecting other people, just as other people have affected our lives. Inside that, an African will rise up. We're going to face our difficulties and challenges and turn all of them, transmute them into opportunities. And that is the solutions. That is the gift we are giving to the world. So let us rise up and let's work hard. Once again, I take this opportunity to invite you to join our community by clicking on the subscribe button. Join us and let us work together. Let us work to emancipate ourselves and affect all our brothers and sisters everywhere, such that the African will have a new perspective of life, will have a new outlook. The black race will become the center of attraction positively, creating and leading the advancement of humanity. Africa will rise. Africa has already risen, and it is by the use and the power of our minds. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Kwejo-Mensah, and I am a co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group and the African Mental Emancipation Movement. Our dream and determination is the complete emancipation of the African minds from all kinds of blockades and free our minds such that the children of Africa, the sons and daughters of Africa, will begin to create, put all things to everything that we have at our disposal together to bring out beautiful and wonderful things to the world and show it to the world and give to the world as our contribution in our advancement. That is our dream. Our dream is to work tirelessly to bring the dreams and aspirations of our forefathers, such as Marcus Garvey and Dr. Martin Luther King in particular. Dr. Martin Luther King's dream that we have already seen and we have experienced of seeing the children of the black race, the white race, the Asian race, all people living side by side on the land of America is unfinished business. And as the children, the descendants of Dr. Martin Luther King and other leaders of the black race, it is our responsibility for us to come together and to emancipate ourselves from all mental slaveries, emancipate ourselves from mental slaveries, all blockades, and now create a beautiful, a diverse, and a multiracial Africa where we have the children of the black race, the children of the white race, the children of the Asian race, all people living side by side, enjoying life, and helping to shape one another to the glory of God and to show the diversity of God on the African continent. As it is, Africa, we are stalling the human evolution. And this is the time we have to rise up and to be part of world movers and the drivers of the human evolution. Thank you, and God bless you.